Stress seems to be affecting almost everyone these days, but according to health and wellness coach Rob Jetten, most of us are not managing our stress well and even make some big mistakes when trying to manage it. Rob joins me now in studio. He is the founder of RTJ Wellness, a Lethbridge-based wellness education company, and he's been helping individuals, workplaces, schools, organizations, you name it, manage stress through workshops and coaching. And Rob, you're going to talk to us about what to do before, during, and after stress shows up. So welcome back.
Yeah, thanks, Jeanette. Always good to be back here. Thanks.
All right. So, Rob, what is the biggest mistake that people make when trying to manage stress?
Yeah, again, a great question to start with. I'll say it's probably two parts. Firstly, I would say this. We got to realize we can't eliminate stress. It's part of life. It's going to be here. The best we can hope for is to manage it effectively. Now, the second part a lot of us make, and I would speak for myself for sure, a lot of us wait for a stressful event to become like too extreme. We feel too overwhelmed, and then we try to figure out how to manage it. So we call that reactive managing. Never really works as well as being proactive. If we can kind of create a toolbox, if you will, of skills and knowledge and ideas to help manage stress better and apply that earlier, then we're not so reactive. And my analogy would be this. The best time to put on a bathing suit is before you go in the pool, not after you're in the pool. And that's the same with stress management. Get it in place before.
Or maybe a month before,
well, whatever.
So you know what you're going to get into the gym, right?
Put it on before.
But it's the same concept, isn't it?
It is.
So I guess the question now is, how do we recognize that the stress is starting to build before it gets to that point?
Well, good call. Yeah, and then that too, we can look for a lot of things. I mean, if people, I always go back to the foundational stuff. If people are having trouble focusing, concentrating, they're not sleeping as well, they feel that fogginess, maybe lack of energy. All those indicate, hey, we're probably past that point already of being too stressed. So, again, have something in place prior to that is so helpful. So,
okay, well, yes, you're going to give us some ideas on how to do that.
I'm trying my best.
Yeah. So, Rob, you often say that stress management starts before stress shows up. So, what do you mean by that, and how can we deal with
I'm going to say it two ways. I'm going to say this. Let's really work on our foundational skill set for stress management. So a lot of people know this. Hey, I got to sleep a little better, move daily, eat a little healthier, keep my social connections in place. And those are all great, and we should do them daily, right?
Okay.
But I'm going to add to that. I think a huge stress management technique is when we start taking charge of what we do day to day.
Okay, so you're talking a whole lifestyle change, basically.
I'm talking day to day, and it's not overcomplicated, but it's something that is so beneficial to do. I actually brought something I do daily, and I would like to share, and I brought a blank copy for you later if you want.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if I can show it on the screen or if I just hold it up or if they got it, but and it doesn't even really matter. This right here is something we've created. It's based off, I don't know if you've ever heard of Cal Newport. He wrote a book called Deep Work. It's loosely based off what he says, but what we do, and we do this at our workshops, people can take their day and break it down into 30-minute increments. Okay, so if you're up, like I'm up at early 5, go to bed early 9. Wow. Well, that's okay, I'm an old guy, that's what I do. But 30-minute increments, and then what you do is you put into your daily plan, you schedule it so it works for your life, your priorities, your why. We've talked a lot about the why. So you put those in, and put them in first, what really matters to you, then you're already creating a day-to-day life that lines up with your priorities, and again, what truly matters to you. So that always gets attention then. And we have to put responsibilities in there and other things, but we're now building a life based on what really matters to us. And I'll give you the second part of that.
Okay.
If you do that the night before, and then you follow through on that, well, just think, we're keeping promises to ourselves. Do you know what that does for self-confidence, for compassion to ourselves, self-love?
Yeah, I can imagine.
It builds all that. It builds it all. And I brought you a blank copy.
Well,
so
thank you.
I'd
love to dive into that. I would imagine this is just such a great way to navigate those daily challenges that life throws at you.
Without a doubt. And then we plan our day, and then that gives us that stress management piece as well. So such a big deal.
Interesting. So, well, this might go into this, but what are some daily habits that can help build resilience and reduce our vulnerability to stress.
Super. And again, I go back to the basics. So I'm going to say, I've taken a lot of courses on this, ended up getting my sleep and resilience coaching certification. I will say this, a foundational piece of stress management and well-being in life is your sleep. So recovery and rest are critical to how we perform day to day. They're critical. So my advice to anyone who's really struggling maybe with stress management or even feeling better is prioritize your sleep. And if I can give a couple real simple ones,
sure.
I'd suggest to everybody they work as hard as they can on a consistent sleep schedule. Go to bed roughly the same time at night, as best you can, right? People have families and responsibilities, I get that. And wake up roughly at the same time. And that even includes the weekends, if possible. Right. And I'll talk about it a little bit more, but I'd also say put a lot of effort into an effective, healthy pre-sleep routine. And I was working with a client the other day. You know what they do to calm down, which I thought was brilliant? They do puzzles half an hour a night before bed.
Okay.
And we know about reading and meditating, but that puzzle one, I thought that was brilliant, and they find that calming and soothing.
Oh, that's neat.
And they sleep better, and it's healthy. It's good for your brain. There's no doom scrolling or any of that.
Doom scrolling.
A lot of people, when they want to relax, they reach for those phones, and even the light from those phones can be.
I sometimes play solitaire.
I get it.
Because it is relaxing.
I get it.
But maybe with the real cards might be better.
Yeah, or change the filter on your phone, right? You can get that softer light on there too,
that's great.
So that's a big one, but
That's a really good idea. Okay, so when stress hits us in the moment, we've been talking about the build-up of stress till you're suddenly so stressed that you didn't even realize how you got there. But when it happens in the moment, what can people do to avoid becoming overwhelmed?
Super question. I'll say it this way. We can get ambushed. We can be as proactive as we want, have good routines, but you and I know, and everyone knows, stress can just ambush us. So if you get an event like that, there's something we use at all our workshops. It's called the ABC 123 Stress Buster acronym. And I'll just share it with you real quick because it can be so beneficial. So if you have a huge stressful event, let's go through it quickly. The A stands for awareness. So be aware it's happening. Like use word language like, oh, I'm feeling anxious or I'm feeling scared. That's perfectly good. B means breath work, but it kind of also means calm down. So find a way that's healthy to calm down. And breathing is really good.
Breathe.
Yeah, right. And you can go like easy, deeper breaths, or you can do like 4, 7, 8 breathing. I think we talked about that before, or box breathing, but breathe a little bit. And then the C means choose. And this is a big one because when we get huge stressful events, often we get overwhelmed, don't even know what to do. There could be 1,000 things we got to take care of. So the C simply means choose one action that will address the stress, and then do only that action. And then prime yourself by just saying, okay, 1, 2, 3, you count to 3 and say, here I go, I'm going to do that action. Works so good to stop that huge stress response because we don't want to spiral down into a major stress response. If we can catch it early, it often makes it less.
So ABC, so basically acknowledge anxiety.
So,
and then breathe.
And then,
like Faith Hill says, just breathe.
Yeah, there you go. She knows her stuff. And then choose an action that's healthy that addresses the stress. And count yourself in 1, 2, 3 and go do that action. So.
Wow. Yeah. You make it sound so easy.
It's simple, but not easy.
We need a little wellness coach along with us throughout the whole day, I think. Are there any lesser known stress management strategies?
Sorry, I want to interrupt.
They haven't heard of. No, go for it.
There's a couple. I want to go back to this. I always say this. If you're feeling an emotion, and it's perfectly fine to feel emotion, but try to avoid saying, I'm scared, I'm stressed, I'm overwhelmed. Put a feeling to it. So I am feeling stressed. I'm feeling overwhelmed. Because that gives us what we call a little bit of distance. And distance is everything when we have stress responses, okay? And then another big one I use, and use it through school and all my coaching. I've been using this for years. A lot of people maybe forget it, or don't know it. If you're heading into something that could be stressful, take for example a big exam or a tough conversation with a loved one, go in with a plan. Use an if-then statement. So, say if I start feeling anxious, then I'll take 3 breaths. or if I'm scared to talk to that person, then I'll hum a little bit of my favorite song. It gets us a little bit of control over the event and a little bit of a strategy to apply, because we all want a way to calm down and self-regulate. I find if-then really helps with that. So,
okay, I'll have to remember that, if and then.
If and then.
Yeah, you often talk about the purpose of finding your why. I know that we've talked about that before. So how does purpose help people better manage stress?
Okay, I'm going to go back to this, and again, it might seem redundant, but I think it's everything. If you were to ask me in all the years of doing this, the single best stress management tool that I just seen worked well, it's take time to figure out your why and then build your life around that. And the benefits you get from building a life around your why, there's so many. Just think, I'll say this again. We can survive horrible things. Have you ever read Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning? Have you ever read that book?
I don't think so.
Okay, that book is about a person. It was written by him. He spent time in a concentration camp in World War II.
Okay.
And he says the reason he got through that event is because he knew his why and his purpose so well. And I think that's such a learning moment for all of us. So if you can survive that with your why, I mean, what can you and I do with knowing our why, or everyone out there, right? Once you get your purpose dialed in,
that's incredible.
You can better manage stress. You can deal more effectively with the challenges of life. And our goal in really stressful circumstances, it's to navigate the stress, not to get rid of it. We're just trying to navigate, and having a purpose will help with that.
I love those books about just sort of like the triumph of the human spirit. They're very inspiring. I mean, like Unbroken. I don't know if you've ever read that one.
Book.
Corrie ten Boom. I mean, there's a number of them, but I'll have to check out that one.
And those messages are usually kind of the same, right?
Exactly. So if viewers only remember one thing from today's conversation, what would you want them to take away?
I'm going to go 1.5 things.
Okay.
So first things first, be proactive with your stress management, okay? Don't wait till it gets out of control. And secondly, start building a toolbox that works for you to give you all those tools, your stress buffer, your stress shield, and experiment with things. I mean, I referenced that puzzle, that helps that person calm down. That could go in their toolbox, right? So for some people, it's exercise, others maybe meditate, others music. But build your own toolbox and put it in your daily plan, and boy, that's a day-to-day way to just be less stressed and more healthy.
And don't forget to sleep.
Always
I
sleep.
know that you've talked so much about exercise, gratitude, sleep, but it sounds like you're saying the most important would be the sleep.
Well, it's foundational. I will say this, if you know, that's a pretty tight list, though. You could argue for all of them. Sleep's big. Exercise, people do know this. A real quick touch on that. We all know the benefits of exercise, cardiovascular health, and muscle mass. You know what people forget about sleep? It burns through stress hormones better than most things. So if you can have exercise in a stressful event and you got high cortisol and high adrenaline, we can help regulate those with just some exercise. And they're brilliant. And can I give you my little take on gratitude? I think this is brilliant. Another book that I would recommend everybody read, it's called What Happy People Know by Dr. Dan Baker. Have you ever heard of the book?
I've heard of it.
It's an amazing book, because here's this person's take on stress. And I'll be real quick. He says stress, almost all stress is fear-based. Okay? The opposite or antidote to fear is love. And one of the best forms of love is gratitude. So you increase gratitude, by default, you increase love, which will decrease fear, which helps you manage stress better. Brilliant language.
It is.
So
it's
gratitude,
beautiful.
We should get that in our lives whenever possible, right? That's super.
Rob, thanks so much for sharing with us today and coming in once again.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Love having you here, for sure. Rob is a certified health and wellness coach and the founder of RTJ Wellness. I'm Jeanette Roche on behalf of all of us here at Bridge City News. Thanks so much for watching.